Episode 376 and a half of the Too Thick Pod, your home for all things sports, cards, and levity. I am Jeremy, joined as always by my son, the number one player in the game, Manny, and his proud, sad, happy, depressed mother, Reckless Courtney. What up, y'all?
What's up? I'm pumped. It feels like forever since we recorded an episode, and it's been a week because we were in Vegas. We were in Vegas. You guys were running down the strip naked. It was crazy. Wild. The Reckless family is a wild one. I just want to point that out there. They're wild people. I couldn't hang. I still can't get my voice back hanging out with these guys. But we are here to recap the Mint, and they'll probably get into it about how their wild side let loose on the strip. I thought about before we get started, I thought about taking those guys that were hitting those clappers and seeing if PSA would grade them. But as they were hitting it, I was like, man, those corners are pretty messed up by then. So
yeah, you were going to get I grabbed Manny's card because he was talking about getting it graded, and the surface wouldn't have graded well. It was very sticky. Don't know why. Don't know what's going on there, but very, very sticky from a Manuel. Manny, one thing that strikes me before we get into it is, you say that we're wild and you can't keep up. We were in bed most nights by 9 o'clock at night and up by 4 o'clock in the morning because we were still on Eastern time. So we're up at 4 o'clock in the morning sipping coffee. There's nothing wild about that. I think if anything, Courtney will agree that we showed our true age on this trip. So if you can't keep up with us, there's the early bird dinner, which me and Courtney are perfectly fine having dinner at 3, 4 o'clock. You are so much more less than, my friend.
No, you guys were so crazy that Courtney fell in the bathroom on water.
I did. I'm still suffering, dude. I'm the only person that goes to Vegas and breaks my hip in my hotel room.
I wish it would. It should have been a much
sexier than that sounds, but I literally just fell in water in the bathroom.
I was brushing my teeth, and Courtney wiped out in slow motion. Down goes Courtney, and then I helped her up. And then the remainder of the trip is I would just put 42 towels down in the bathroom.
Every single time I get out of the shower, it was just like a line of towels everywhere. He's like, "Are you okay?" So, not super hyped as far as being like, that's not true. We went to a couple of parties and we did stay out way past my bedtime. We were hobnobbing. We were, drinking. I was doing shots of water, pretending to do shots of vodka.
Veteran move. Move.
Yes.
Not me.
No, these young 20-year-olds are just like, let's do shots. And then they're doing shot and shot and shot. And I'm like, sure, I'll do shots. And then meanwhile, I have a bottle of water that I'm just pouring into my glass. And I'm like doing shots of water.
That's messed up.
I'm like, haven't you guys ever seen Coyote Ugly? That's how you do it.
Based on like the group chat that we're in, now that the event is over, I look back at Mint for two things. One, for the actual Mint show, which we're going to talk about, but also like a hobby family reunion. We had hobby family dinner. We went to a party together, which is the most fun I've had at a party in a long time. And we got to spend a lot of quality time with our, I guess, E would be your hobby grandpa, Manny.
Yes, since you call him Dad.
Yeah, Dad. And, Sarah, Mrs. Squirts. And we had, it's Kaylee, baby. Hopefully she's not angry and she's calmed down a little bit. But it was truly
because she beat his ass.
She did, emotionally and physically. But when you remove the card stuff, it truly was like a hobby family reunion. It was a group of people that we got to hang out with at the Borgata in Atlantic City. And now we made our way to the, Rum Bar, and then MGM Grand, and all over God's green desert.
I mean, Courtney was taking pictures after we left with like a big old wine bottle, chugging it from the actual bottle. So I don't know what happened afterwards, but
shout out Sarah Layton.
Yeah, she was. Me up. So, I don't know what you guys were doing. You said you went to bed at 9. I doubt that.
So,
Yo,
so
let me
Jeremy and
let me tell you something. We went to dinner. We had reservations for dinner at 5:15. Manuel, 5:15. We went to our favorite restaurant in Vegas, Tao. We went back and we're like, let's go, let's grab some drinks and let's have a movie. Courtney popped the bottle of champagne, poured a glass, and we
Yep.
tried watching the movie that we tried watching the night before because she fell asleep. And you know, to rent a movie in Vegas, it's like $27.
Yep.
So she's like, no, I am so good. I am so good. She has her drink. She walks down, she gets a bucket of ice, and she's adding cranberry juice or something to it.
and shots more. Yeah.
Yeah. She sits down, and I'm like, oh, this mother is going to go right to bed. And she's like, no, I'm good. We get 6 minutes into the movie, and her body starts going like this into me. And I'm like, I'm sitting upright. I've got the lights on, and she just starts going like this. And I'm like, you're going to fall asleep. She's like, I'm wide awake. And you can tell for as long as we've been together, I know Courtney speak, and I know the way she starts saying. 10 minutes later, I heard the. Oh yeah, no, that's my favorite part. Gone, asleep by like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Listen, I was partying too hard. We did so much. So let's start. Jeremy and I got there Tuesday of last week, so a week ago yesterday, and we had the first day to just kind of like hang out, and that's what we did. I think we were short of the people that were actually setting up the mint. We were some of the first people in Vegas. I'm like we're all in like several group chats. Everyone's like, I'm landing Wednesday, I'm coming in Thursday morning, I'm coming in Friday morning. And I'm like, bitch, I've been here. So we land Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday were like the real days when everybody started getting there. Wednesday night, we were wandering. You guys got there Wednesday night, right?
Yep.
So Wednesday night, Sarah and Miss Squirts and her husband get in. You guys get in. We went to dinner with Sarah and and while we were in the lobby, we run into Tim from Slab Strong. We run into Alex from Sports Card Stallion. We run into Christina and Hoj from Card Ladder. So
Don't forget about Stiff, man. Stiff was out
No,
there working.
Stiff is
oh my god,
Stiff
I
was
love him.
working.
He's
the Stiff Meister.
fantastic. His like quality of work is so I stand. So we run into them and I'm starting to get hyped. I'm like, oh my god, it's happening. The people are here. The card nerds have arrived, you know. So I'm super hyped to go back to the hotel room Thursday. We get up, everybody's there. We have family breakfast. And by family I mean Squirts and you guys. We're all like, you know, we talk all the time. We're like I don't know. I love you guys. So Thursday night is the founders party. That is like the kickoff party to the mint. And since we're talking about the mint recap, I think that's pretty much where we should start. And that was well done. It was very strict. The only critique that I would have, like as far as the setup for the mint goes, is the damn the like badges that they gave out were so confusing. Everybody was so confused about what their badge would or would not let them do.
There was one badge and then 18 parallels, and a lot of the parallels people thought would get you anywhere. When we got the tour, we had media badges, and they're like, you can do whatever whenever you want. And for a while, I felt like that until a security guard told me to go F myself that is not the case. I need to get another one. So you would see people by the end of the show that had 4 or 5 vendor tags hanging around their neck. So I think that is a very fair criticism. It wasn't very clear on what the badges were and where you could get access.
Because you had there was the green one, which was the vendor, the blue one, which was the speaker. Ours was like a pink color, and that was media. Then you had the red one, which was like the mint experience. That one I think was like the shiz one. That one you could get in any. And then there was another green one that was a sponsor, which you would think that one would be able to get you anywhere, but it didn't, according to some people. So it was a little confusing with the badges. I think that would be the only thing that I was like, what the heck? But really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a badge. Who cares? So otherwise, I had an absolute, and my badge got me wherever I wanted to go. So I wasn't complaining.
I love that you guys say it was the parallel. Jeremy said it's like a parallel because that's how the hobby is.
That's
It was
exactly
different. It was
bad
different parallel.
parallels. You gotta collect them all. I saw
Yeah,
people like that had every rainbow color. I'm like, damn. I'm like, you got all
yeah.
the parallels.
By
So
Sunday, you've seen some that were just like everything.
just
It
like
was-
chains hanging off
yeah,
their neck with all the different badges. It was actually kind of fun when you think about it in that terms of
yeah.
like. But so the founders party was actually at the convention center in one of the rooms because the marketplace was in one giant room, and then there were two hallways that ran parallel to the marketplace, and they had separate rooms where they did the panels, they did the parties, they did the workshops. Everything was down those hallways, and then in front of the show you had where you bought your tickets and the concession area.
So what's wild is Manny attended the kickoff last year. We did not. I wasn't bullish on attending the kickoff this year. And if I would have had to pay for it, I don't think I would have gone. But fortunately for us, we were issued the media badges, so we went. So you were there from start to finish, Court. Talk about what you saw, what you liked about it, what you didn't like, if anything.
So I have a totally different opinion on that. I definitely would have paid for the badges. I feel like this event was worth what I got out of it. And I think depending on your perception of everything, you could go either way. Obviously, Jeremy was, he might not have paid for it. I think once we attended it, he might have changed his mind. But in the beginning, maybe he felt that way. But the party was awesome. I mean, I know a lot of people were saying that they didn't like that for the founders party that there was like a Zoom stream or whatever when they thought that like Peyton Manning and those guys were going to be there. I don't think the people who threw the event really had any control over that. Like, you can't tell
I
Peyton
don't-
Manning, hey, you're showing up. Like, I don't know what he tells Peyton Manning what he's going to do. But I do know that like that was something that people wished that he was there. But I did listen to it, and it was interesting to listen to. I liked watching it. The party itself was cool. There was, they had really great hors d'oeuvres walking around. They had two open bars. They had games. They were doing like box breaks, which everyone was shouting and like really excited about. They had, actual breakers. Like, I know Leighton and Mama Breaks were there breaking. So it was fun. And I had a really great time. I met a ton of people. When I first got there, I always feel like, oh, I know everybody. I know everybody. I didn't know anyone when I walked in. And I beat Jeremy there because he was off doing Jeremy things. So I got there by myself. And I'm like walking around like, oh yeah, I know people. I literally, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know any of these people. So I just started introducing myself, and everyone was really friendly. Everyone was there with the understanding that they wanted to meet new people, to meet as many new people as you could. So you could strike up a conversation with just about anyone. And I really enjoyed that. Like, that was probably my favorite part, was all of the new people that I met this week.
Yeah, yeah. I going into it, we remember I kind of told you because I was from last year. People got a bad like kind of understanding of what it was because everyone was saying it's like the marketplace and everything is like kind of a social event, and I actually enjoyed that type of like atmosphere. So, like last year, that was one of my favorite shows. Um, but I did see some videos, so I didn't go to the founders party, but I did see like they were doing like gambling, but it wasn't with real money. People learned how to gamble. I know some people. Was it you, Courtney? But someone came up to me and was like, "I learned how to play blackjack at the
Yes, sir. I know how to play blackjack.
was this okay? It must have been Sarah. But and then I saw like videos of people competing with basketball. They introduced. Is this when they introduced the Monopoly game as well, the prison Monopoly game, or no?
No, I think that was
at
the
the
next
panel the
day
next
Oh,
at the
was
day.
it?
panel.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I'm jumping ahead, but it seemed like the videos of people going through the box break tournament. You had Gio from Sports Card Nonsense running it. Is that correct? And he was basically he was a dictator saying who won and who lost. So I heard that stirred up some like fun. But it is fun because it's just like you said, Courtney, we're a tight knit group, us like Sarah and all that, but the hobby as a whole is a bunch of like it's a big family. It's like a family reunion. The Mint is a family reunion, is my experience.
Yeah, I would say if you're not in it like that, and you've just seen a few average YouTube videos that contain hobby content, those folks
Yeah.
that you see there and all the money behind the hobby were the sorts of folks that were, having a couple drinks, networking, meeting people. So
Yeah.
I think just being completely transparent, we went into this event looking at it through a different lens about potentially making a career or doing something more on a permanent basis. So I didn't go into it with I'm just a hobby guy looking to buy, sell, trade. Like I looked at it through the lens of like, okay, this is important. This is a great opportunity to network. And the moment in my brain when I shifted like that, there was incredible value being there, meeting people, because those same people who I was able to break the ice with on that night were the same people that throughout the weekend that I continued to, dap it up when I saw them, continue on conversations, exchange contact information. So going back, when originally I was like, I don't have any interest, when I shifted why I was going to it, I was, it changed that for me.
If you have a vested interest in growth in the space as not maybe not just as a collector, as someone who's going to card shows, but as someone who's doing this, it's a business to business event. The marketplace it was a dope marketplace. It was a really great show. Saturday was awesome. It was well done, but the actual mint experience, the VIP passes and stuff that you're buying, that is like going to any business convention. I used to work for the Chamber of Commerce and we used to put on business expos. That is the same vibe as this. If you're going there thinking you're gonna like like obviously at the founders party, they're doing card stuff, they're breaking, they're passing out like, the PSA magazines, there's swag, there's all that kind of stuff, but it isn't the same as going to National. It's not the same as going to Burbank. It's just not the same. This is really for people in the space that want to have more education on how to grow their business, on how to, you know, like understand, investing in the space, how to work in there. Like Card Ladder the next day did panels on like types of jobs that you can have in this industry that aren't actually collecting. Like what companies are hiring people to work for them that aren't, it's not like, oh, building sets. It's literally customer service at PSA or something.
And and most of these people that came to the panels and on Thursday, you got to know going in as well, they paid majority of them paid the $600 ticket to kind of introduce themselves and market themselves and grow. Kind of like if they wanted to be in the hobby, you want to introduce yourself to GTS, you want to introduce yourself to all these big names in the hobby. So then they have when you look at social media, sometimes you just see a little picture and it's like a cart. Like for mine, it's a cartoon. No one puts my face to that until you actually meet someone in person. So a lot of people were taking advantage, I would say, of that the 2 days before the marketplace.
I have to say that's really important too. And that's a great point because I am one of those people that could follow someone very closely on social media and love their content and then come face to face with them. Even people who show their face and I don't realize that it's them until I meet them, I talk to them, and they're like, I am this person and this is my Instagram. It doesn't matter. I am literally the worst at that.
Yeah.
I'm awful. I don't know what disconnect I have in my brain. So for me, going there and seeing all of these people that I interact with on social media in real life helps me build my connection with them as actual people and not just somebody on a computer screen.
For sure. I mean, Courtney, sometimes I see her almost every weekend and still she's like, "Who are you again?" And I think she just got too big. I think she just got too big in the hobby. It's like,
Oh,
"Who are
that's
you?"
such a bitch.
There was a time, Jeremy, listen to this. This is fast forward, and I was like trying to talk to Courtney, and she's walking away. She's like, "I got an interview," and I'm like, "Courtney, be right back," and just blew me off and just kept going. I was like, "Dang, Courtney's big time now. I got big time by Courtney. This is messed up."
By Sunday, Manny, it wasn't just you; it was me as well. You need to
Yeah,
be
you
over
should
at the Hit Parade booth at 220. You have to be over here for the interview at 2:30. You need to be here at 1 o'clock for this. You have to be here. And I was just like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I was
ma'am.
texting him. I'm like, this is where you
This
need
is-
to be at this time. This is where you need to be at this time. You need to go here at this time.
You
So-
took
Did
my
I,
pool-
when
took
you
my
texted
pool
me,
away.
when you texted me, Court, did I get where I was supposed to be?
You did. You did what you were
Huh.
supposed to do.
Almost
blew
if
me
that's the preferred method of communication. I'm just
I do. I try to live up
Just-
to my obligations.
Uh,
So
you blew me off.
the party on Thursday was amazing. I am of the mindset that if you are really like in this to grow, in this to connect with people, the Mint is definitely the event to go to. I will not miss the Mint ever. I will pay for any tickets that they offer. This is something that I found to be excessively beneficial to us, and I learned a lot. So where I learned the most is on Friday during the panels.
Yep. And so it's kind of funny because my understanding, and again, I could be totally wrong. My understanding going into this thing was going to be that probably the panels for the most part and the kickoff party was going to be like more of a Courtney and Manny thing. And I was just going to go to the show and buy and sell trade cards. And if I happened to connect with people in chat, obviously I would do that. But I felt like that's how the show was going to shake out. After going through the Thursday night party and kind of breaking that ice and building some rapport with people, I felt a lot more comfortable and was incredibly excited for the Friday work panels. So we went through and we identified like, hey, these are like the 6 or 7 ones that we want to go to. And based on and there was a lot more, but we narrowed it down to like 6 or 7. And then we're like, well, how do we get to them? Because some of them overlapped, some of them ran at the same time. So come Friday morning, me and Courtney started the day together in the same room for a panel, switched into another panel, and then by lunchtime, we were each attending separate panels and then sharing notes and information from that. And so, Courtney, I'll start with you. You know, if you want to give a quick rundown of some of the panels we saw, and then what was your favorite and why?
Oh, I don't know if I could pick a favorite one. I could pick points of each ones that were my favorite. So we started out with Bullpen and Friends. And that was the first one we went to. And that one was about security and basically, starting a card or hobby shop in your community and kind of the safety precautions that they were taking. I found that one to be because they started about security and then they kind of branched out about how each of the shops, like what their specialties were, how they grew, how they built community within their areas, and then like how they stayed in their lanes and what worked for them, what didn't work for them, what they needed to improve on as their own individual stores. And I found all of that like extremely interesting. It had the effect of making me like really excited about the potential of starting our own shop and terrified, like in
Yeah.
equal amounts.
Yeah, I think anybody that's been in the hobby for any extended period of time has at least in passing had the fantasy of, man, it would be cool to have my own shop, right? And you kind of talk about it and like we all kind of like understand the inherent risk that goes with it. But then when you're in a room with people who are like-minded, who have either a stronger drive, more aspirations, less, but are asking questions, and you're talking with Bullpen LA, Columbia Hobby, A&N Sports, and they're just sharing everything from the good, the bad, the ugly. It is an exciting, awesome, candid discussion that, for me, had an incredible impact in that hour that we were in that room.
And that's crazy that you said that, like Jeremy, because like you said in the past, if you weren't listening to some of our recaps before, Jeremy was kind of hesitant of going to these panels because he was not the type that he wants, when he's at a card show, he wants to buy, sell. That's Courtney. I learned that going to a couple shows with Jeremy, like stay out of his way, let him buy, sell. That's what he likes to do. Courtney and I, we like to socialize. So it is good that Jeremy was able to find interest in these panels. So they switched his mind on that one. So that's
the mint completely changed Jeremy's perspective in the hobby. So like hardcore, thank you to the Mint for that, because sometimes I feel like I am constantly driving that, and he is he's
Yeah.
been, you know, all the card shows. This is like, actually, this is real. Like, this is our real hobby journey. We talk about this all the time, how we're very transparent. Jeremy sent me off to Burbank. He sent me off to Dallas to do buying, which makes me, and buying for us to in turn use for inventory, which makes me uncomfortable because I am an avid, thorough, degenerate, hoarding collector. So that took me out of my comfort zone and put me into something that I don't typically, you know, want to do. And I learned a lot in those couple of shows that I went to. And I feel like the Mint was Jeremy's like version of that, where he went from being like Mr. I can't talk, head down, you know, Zion case, backpack on, table, 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 buy, sell, to, hey, making connections and, you know, maybe stepping out of my comfort zone and just like introducing myself to somebody I don't know is not that terrible of a thing to happen. So we've had a lot of growth this past year. I would say all three of us. Manny made trades. He has sold cards. He has done big deals. He did his first, you know, eBay auction on like a high dollar card.
I'm
So
nervous.
it's scary. It's scary, but that's like let's be real, that's the fun of this. We're all in this space, and in the past year, you could look back from where we started a year ago to where we all three of us as individuals are today. And we have all seen exponential growth in our own personal journey, and then collectively as a group of people who care about each other in this space. So I feel very proud of us.
Yay, us. For sure.
Courtney trying to hit us with a mic drop, and we haven't even gotten to the
Yeah.
damn event.
Yeah, we're not
That
even,
was
we're not
that
even,
was that was very well said, Court. And it's
Yeah.
true because I am stubborn by nature. I like to be right. I don't mind being wrong, but like my arc of being wrong is like I need to be wrong, lick my wounds, and then come back gracefully. And just to be in the moment where like, hey, this is truly I'm enjoying myself. I want to be here. I want to be doing this. So I, you know, going from these panels to panels, and we were talking, we went to Fanatics breaking the news. We went to money in the hobby, like, you know, big time institutional money where they see the industry in 3, 5, 10 years. We did a candid interview with Mitch from Bullpen LA. Courtney went to working in the hobby, you know, from representatives of Panini, PSA. I did the Panini Q&A, and I learned so much. And one thing that, you know, rings true still now is community, man. It's community. The one thing I thought about is these people that are having success have these communities that are a part of. And then I'm like, wow, you know, at some point they started the same way we did, where and Reckless, where we had like, you know, shout out 504 or all the, you know, the Thicc. Like it's a group of people who kind of have grown together, and you cherish that, man. These are people who 20 years ago didn't know each other, but because of pieces of cardboard, they're having a drink, sharing a laugh, you know, having good times. So I will say, I was poo poo on the panels on the front end. I didn't think it was going to provide much value to me personally. I went in with an open mind, and you know, it potentially is going to change our family's whole world.
So I also wanted to talk a little bit about how impressive I found the Mint's panels in their like level of having women on panels. Not like a woman's panel that they set up at the butt crack that nobody goes to, but like an actual, like just panels where they're discussing hobby related things, and they just have women on the panels rather than making it like a point of having like a minority panel or something. It was, you had Sarah Layton talking about breaking with Grayson from Cherry Collectibles. You had Mama Breaks and Kayla Collects. They had their own panel about the new generation of collectors, which frankly include a lot of women. You had Catherine from Magpie on the financial, the huge financial one. Christina held her own panel, and Sue's from CSG was on it. There were so many women active in this event, from, you know, Lauren running it, like being one of the main people, like running the event. It was, to me, it felt amazing as a female collector to see all of these women in here just doing it without like it being a big deal, because it shouldn't be a big deal.
And they weren't just like a woman there for the sake of a woman being there. These were badasses that could hold their own against anybody and probably smoke most of their peers and the fellas. And so it was to see that diversity across the board was, you know, just a nice touch. And I will say, I want to make it be known that this event felt much more premier and prestigious relative to any other card show that anybody's ever experienced. It's not like the
production value
national. It's classy. You feel like if you went in to like one of the panels, and I'm not talking shit or anything like that, but you felt like, okay, I probably should have a sport coat on. You know what I mean? I probably shouldn't be, you know, day drinking or some of the other stuff. It felt like a very serious in the sense of like everybody was having a good time and everything was light, but like this is serious. Like this is truly a space that's growing. Yeah.
It's a business. It's not just BS. It's not just people dicking around. It's not like it felt like a professional event. It felt like any of the industry events for any of my like real life careers. Even though this is a hobby space, it is an industry, and it felt like an industry event.
Mm-hmm. So,
Manny, I was curious, just based on, is there anything that you didn't go to that you would have liked to have gone to, or were you pretty like you were cool golfing and spending time with wifey?
So I didn't go to the panels because my wife's not into cards, and I wanted to spend a couple of days. We got in Wednesday night, so Thursday, Friday were my days to spend with my wife because Friday night through Sunday were the marketplace. I did the panels last year, and like you guys kind of brought it up, and you guys kind of shifting into that might want to do it full time and go all in, right? So you have a different headset than I have. I'm still doing it like, you know, I'm doing it like I want to meet people and grow, but I'm doing it as still like fun, you know? So I was just like, yeah, I'm going to pass on the panels because if I was looking to start a job or start a card show, I would go to the panels 100%. But that's not the point of my hobby experience right now. And I already did it last year, but it's way different. I know there's different panels, different people. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go Top Golf. So I went to Top Golf. We had an executive meeting is what we were calling it with Sarah and E. But yeah, I do miss, I would like to have went to like the Fanatics just to see what's going to happen in a couple years, or like the hobby, like shops, because we don't really have one that's on your guys' side of the state. There is, but not where I'm at. So I would be interested in going, but I'm like, I'm okay not going for this time. Maybe next year I'll get the ticket to actually go, but that wasn't for me this year, I would say.
Well, Friday worked out though, because Friday after the panels, I had a women in the hobby dinner. So we were invited by Kelly from Sports Card Investor. She kind of organized it all. And then Sarah Layton brought amazing gifts for everybody. And there were like 26 of us that attended this dinner. It was awesome. It was so much fun to, you know, just spend some time with the other women.
You can tell the truth, Court. You can tell the truth. I have it on good authority that the restaurant was terrible. They dropped the ball, and like at least 4 or 5 ladies had to send their steaks back because they were overcooked.
So the food was like meh, but the event itself was great, and we had several bottles of wine, so that more than made up for the steaks not being the greatest. I'm like not gonna complain. They let us take to-go cups of wine, so at the end of the day, I was like, I'm fine with this. And my steak was cooked perfectly, so I didn't have any complaints. But yeah, that did in fact happen. But that's not like the group's fault in the restaurant. Like they brought more food out. It was just that was yeah. But anyway,
let me say one thing real quick. When Courtney got home that night, I was like, we got back to the hotel. She's like, check this out, and she pulled out like a stack of these many cards, and I'm like, oh, did you buy? She's like, no, we were at the dinner table ripping wax.
shout out to Courtney from Panini. Panini hooked it up. They sent boxes of wax for us to open. So that was super cool. I pulled a bunch of like really, I think Caitlin pulled like 3 autographs out of just like, we were like, we would open a box and then we just pass it on the table and everybody would take a pack out of the box. And I don't know, it was fun. Any event where I'm drinking free wine and having free wax is a win on a win. And you having that many women together who were like equally as passionate in the space. These women, I'm in chats with all of them. I'm really good friends with a lot of them. And when you were talking about it feeling like a reunion, some of these, women I only get to see once or twice a year. And it means a lot to be able to spend that time together. And I cannot thank them enough for all that they did to make that happen. And I appreciate it. And shout out to Show Your Slabs and Slab Strong for like the chains that Sarah Layton brought us all. So I have my own like chain now with
You're
my
right.
I know I wore it the whole weekend too. I
So
walked
I'm
into the casino and people, because we stayed at like the Aria, not at the MGM, and there weren't anywhere near as many card people at the Aria. So I'm walking through the Aria with my chain with my like Justin Fields card, and they're like, "What the fuck is this broad wearing on her chest?"
They're like looking at your boobs or looking at your card.
They were definitely looking at my card. Yes, let's go, Justin. So it was funny. It
So
was a blast.
I don't want to spend a lot of time. I have like what I thought was like a pretty good story, and where I thought like I was just going to go home from the Mint is we were invited to this party. We were asked not to talk about it, and it was held upstairs in Ling Ling, upstairs of the Hakkasan. And so it said, "Be here promptly at 10 p.m. Don't tell anyone, and come up." So we got there at like 9:50. We got there at like 9:58. At 9:50 we're up to the side. 9:58 we walked up. We got in line. We saw David Marino. We're like, "Hey, what's up, Dave?" And security looks at me and I'm go, "Hey, what's going on, man? We're here for the 10 o'clock." And my man just stared through me, acted like I didn't even exist, like I was a ghost, like I was not there. And there was 3 or 4 security guys, and I was standing there, and it was just me and Court, and I'm like, okay, this is awkward. So I stood there for a second. I'm like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm just gonna stand here. And I'm like, you know what? F this. I don't need this shit. I'm out of here. And I turned around and like we walked away, and finally cooler heads prevailed. But you young people, Manny, I don't know how you do it when you go to the club. You just stand there and act like you don't exist trying to get in, man. That thing was wild.
Yeah. Well, this was after that marketplace, right? So everyone was at that.
But we didn't go because I got done
kickoff.
with the dinner and Jeremy had gone back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And our hotel was like a 45-minute walk. So when I realized, because we got crossed wires, I thought we were going to meet after my dinner because my dinner was at the MGM, and then we were going to meet at the show. But Jeremy just went back to the hotel. So I get out, I walk down to the show, and I'm like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "At the hotel room." There was no time for us to do, like, if he's like, "I'm going to shower and then I'll be down." I'm like, well, then I have to turn around and walk back and shower to go to that party and then walk back. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm like, I'll just go back. So we ended up not going to I spent like 2 minutes inside of the sneak preview. So luckily you went to that. So why don't you talk a little bit about the sneak preview?
The sneak preview was actually Jeremy, you missed out. I didn't want to bring it up, but you missed out because deals were being had at the sneak preview because half the dealers were there, and those dealers were giving out good deals. So I know like Mrs. Squirts, I helped her out for a little bit. She sold a lot on Friday night, a lot. Like her booth was packed. I think I did a live video, and I think Courtney was there. And I think there was like 4 or 5 people. I snuck in real quick and kept walking, but it was packed. It was packed. I was surprised. And it was a social event. So if you had, that pass that everyone that you're talking about, the marketplace pass where you get everything, it was free drinks. They gave you a wristband, drinks, food. People were walking around with food. And it's cool because like you got butlers handing you egg rolls as you're trying to buy a card. It was, hey, I felt classy. I felt like Jeremy once. So
Pinky up.
Pinky up. So there was everyone was excited for the show, and it was just fun to talk to the people. This is when it wasn't as full, like it was packed, but it wasn't like the actual marketplace pack. So the dealers were actually talking to you like one on one. You got to meet them. Um, Most of them said, "Hey, come back tomorrow because I didn't bring everything." I got to know a couple of them, so it was good to go. Sorry, Jerry, if you're looking to buy cards on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I got a sense of that. I'm curious. I want to ask you, based on what you heard over the 3 days, how much of the dealer's behavior and the buyer's behavior adjusted or changed based on the fact that they were in Las Vegas and there was people clearly itching to go partake in adult beverages and gamble.
So at Friday, everyone was happy. It seemed, you come to the party, it's like everyone's like, "Woo!" Um, Sunday morning, uh, everyone was hit hard. I think it was because of shout out Marino and them for throwing that party and cigar night with Cage. It took a toll on a lot of people. Dealers were walking in at like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
I'm still
Everyone
recovering.
everyone everyone was looking to deal though on Sunday because like I was telling you that they didn't want to take these cards home. I mean they brought them all here to sell. They didn't want to ship them back and some of them I talked to might have a gambling problem and we're all degenerates in the first place so they need to recoup some money. But it was funny how like when you go to a party and everyone, like right when you get there, everyone's like, "Yeah, we're ready to party." Well, on Sunday, everyone was like, "We partied way too hard. It's time to go." It was the best.
Saturday, the marketplace was booming. Like there were points of Saturday where I couldn't leave the table because we were helping Sarah because there were so many people coming up to the table. It was so crowded, so busy. When you walked through the actual marketplace, there were so many people. It was like packed like any card show that you go to. And everyone I talked to said that they did really, really, really well Saturdays on sales.
If you priced your cards right, because there
If you
was
price your
dealers,
card.
yeah,
Yeah.
dealers on Sunday were complaining, and I looked at their cards, and they're 2x your cards, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's
They're
why you
like, well,
didn't sell.
you're nowhere near comps, sir. I get that you need to like make up your cover, but you would sell more if you priced these properly.
Exactly.
That's every card show you ever go to. People do that. But you had Panini that had like an actual freaking NASCAR like set up. They were giving out free packs of NASCAR. We got 2 packs of NASCAR cards, and I don't collect NASCAR, so Steven's like on I don't know, looking them up the other day, and one of them was worth like one of the cards from the pack. There was 3, like I think we got 6, was worth like $50.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, we got a $50 card for free. I know, Topps had a great booth. They did the buy one, take one from kids, of course, or take one, leave one for the kids. I saw they had virtual reality at the eBay table. Whatnot was doing its crazy thing like it always does. There
Yep.
was just like,
Jeremy heard VR and ran over there. He thought it was something else.
I can't. I get so motion sickness from VR.
Well,
I can't do it.
I saw Jeremy with the VR going like this, and I was like, "What are you doing, Jeremy?" He's like, "What? Nothing." And then he put it back real quick and walked away.
Yeah, Mrs. Squirts gave Card Collector to a
Oh
stellar
yeah.
deal. He get
Shout out
he
to him too, because we passed him in the hallway and he went back and I believe gave her more money when
because he
he
felt she
had
deserved.
absolutely no obligation to do so. He felt like when he got back up to the room and went through all the cards, he felt like it was such a great deal for him. He wanted to make sure that she got compensated a little more. So I think that like that's the kind of stuff that you'll never hear about that should be highlighted more. And I hope that that doesn't create any issues speaking on somebody else's business. I just think that that was just in good taste.
Yep.
That I was honestly surprised too because you don't hear that kind of stuff. And again, it's not. I feel bad because it really isn't our business to say, but like that was great of him. So
Yeah.
he deserves the flowers of whether he wants them or not. I'm giving them to him. So good job, Ryan.
Yeah, so we get to the marketplace on Saturday. I am ready to rock and roll. And I ended up we maybe spent like what, 2,500, 3,000 bucks, Courtney, and that was it. And that was the extent of our buying for the show. Manny, I felt like if you would have been an angel on my shoulder or just following above my head, you would have been proud at the way that I networked and how well I represented not only Reckless Cards, but more importantly, the Two Thick Pod.
Yeah, so it was funny because at the marketplace, I would walk around and I'd see you at a table, and Courtney, we said it before, but he meant business on Saturday. The dude went back to straight. I don't know if he was just blowing me off, but I was like, Jeremy, and you could tell he was just like not. You know how he is. He's like, I want to hi Manny, but I want to get back to these tables. That's what he was.
He did that to me. I was walking around with our friend Alex. We're walking around.
I was with Alex too.
I'm like, oh, there's Jeremy. Different Alex. This is Alex from Vegas, not Alex from Michigan. And I'm like, oh, there's Jeremy. And he like looks at me. He looks at us and he goes like this, and then he just turns around and walks away. I'm like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, that's how he is. During a card show. I do. Hey, sorry to interrupt real quick, but I feel like you guys would answer this really well. Being dealers and comping cards all the time. So, do you feel that the latest comps are on the cards value, or does rarity play anything in the evaluation?
I think both matter.
I think rarity and what's available plays a huge role in how a card is going to be priced. I use comp is just as like a reference. Like that's a place for us both to start. And then, for Courtney and I can't speak on for every other dealer, we're willing to have a conversation based on like, hey, if this card is sold 100 times at auction for $95, well, then it's probably a $95 card. But if the last comp is 2.5 years ago and the player has 10x in production or his overall index is up, and there's not a lot available, well, then that becomes a different discussion. One thing that I find to be incredibly frustrating is people who will die on the comp sword when it's advantageous to them, but the minute you use the same logic and turn around on them, all of a sudden it doesn't work, and that's not right. So the way we look at it is we're willing to have a conversation. If you think that our card should be a different price based on whatever criteria and information you provide, then we're gladly willing to have a discussion. And very rarely, unless it's something rare or something that we feel incredibly bullish on, typically we'll come up off our number if it makes sense.
It's also funny with the rarity. Courtney and Jeremy, you probably know this because you've been in it a while, and I'm starting to learn. Is like they'll find it's one comp and it's super low or super high, and they'll try to use it to either, if you're on the dealer side, you're like, hey, it's just a low comp. I'm not. But if you're on the other side, you're like, this is the comp. So, and it's funny because once the cards switch over in hands, the roles are reversed. Now this guy's going to use that comp to basically fight the story.
At the end of the day, if you have a card that is rare, it has maybe one comp from like off season. Yes. And now it's like you're mid-season, this player is balling, but that specific card doesn't have a comp, and it's like maybe it's like 1 of 5 or 1 of 10 or whatever. I'm willing to have the conversation like, well, here's a product that is a similar value product. It's a similar number card. It has a more recent comp. So we can kind of have a conversation of like, okay, so preseason, this card sold for $500 for this out of 5, whatever. And now you're looking at a card that's of a similar product, also out of 5, and it just sold last week for like $1,200. Mm-hmm. You can make I feel like any logical, reasonable person can make the argument that like clearly this player's value has gone up since preseason into, even postseason. Now they're in the playoffs. Yeah. Like you can't compare those prices, and it is scarce. If it's a card that sells constantly, and there's none available right now on eBay, that doesn't mean that card is scarce. It just means like maybe next week one will be up. There's a difference.
How about this, Court? Remember when LaMelo Ball hype came out, and we pulled a LaMelo Ball base rookie, and we were lucky enough at the time to have like 10 grades or 5 grades with HGA. We got the custom slab, or maybe it was like a Revolution parallel or something like that with the custom label, but it was essentially a base card. We got it. We were first to market. We threw it up with a stupid number. not expecting somebody to pay for it, but maybe to get some offers because I think we were just like trying to put them up and then on Sunday start an auction for 7 days. In the middle of the afternoon, all of a sudden you hear cha-ching. Somebody did a buy it now. Paid right away. We shipped the card like for $600 or $700, something stupid. That's not a $600 or $700 card. You know what I mean? So you have to be mindful that once in a while people get a little, and we've all done it. I know I've hit the bin, and then afterwards, like, oh, damn it, I missed. That's Don Russ. That's not an optic downtown, or that's not auto, or
College uni.
the picture didn't match like I just went by the words and I didn't look at all the pictures. So we've all been there. So to me, a comp is just a reference point, and there's several other things that go into it. And one thing that we talk about a lot, Joel, and I always told Manny is like, I like to strike up a conversation with the dealer, and if I feel like they're an asshole, I don't even waste my time.
Yeah, I also
Like,
think you
if
brought
I,
up a good point too, Jeremy, of the difference between someone like a buy it now comp and something on bids. A buy it now comp can be fake. It could be someone who doesn't know better buying something that isn't worth it because they got on there and got overexcited. It could be nonsense. Something that went up on bids on auction, I feel, obviously you always have to the risk of shill bidders or whatever, but something that's like regularly going at auction or even a couple previous sales over the years at auction with bids, to me is a far more stable comp than a buy it now.
I think it's a closer representation of true market value. But with all that being said, I wanted to go to the show to buy and sell and trade cards. Manny, what cards did you buy? What cards did you sell? Because this is the stuff that's awesome.
So I went to the show and with my mind thinking that I'm not buying a card until I sell these two cards. One of them I've been stuck with, and it was the 1-of-1 Neymar. And going back to comps, there was one that sold during the World Cup at 4,000. It was a 1-of-1, right? But I might hurt myself because I was going, and I think it hurts, but it helps when you're talking to dealers because I'm not trying to go over on them. So when I sold it, I told them I was like 1-of-1 sold for 4,000. But hear me out, it was during the World Cup. This is why I have mine priced a little bit lower. And they like that. They like that because they kind of open up. At first, when you talk to dealers, they're kind of on guard, like they're trying to get me. And that's how every transaction I feel like when I go and talk to someone, I'm like, wow, someone's trying to get over on me. But once you break it down like that, sold that card. And then the next one, I shout out to Jeremy. Like I said, I probably bug him a lot because I'm like, I get nervous with trades. But Jeremy came up to me and I had a Holland rookie and I wanted to trade out of it because in Michigan, we all love soccer. But it's hard to sell in Michigan. It's easy to obtain. We could buy soccer here because no one else is, but it's hard to sell. So I was trying to sell that or trade. So I ended up trading out of that to get some liquid cards and some cash on top of it. And it was because of Jeremy. Jeremy was like, maybe you should get, I know you don't do football and it was just straight, football and basketball cards that much, but you should trade into it. So I got the hollow Justin Fields, Jamar Chase Red Wave, and these are both 10s. And then John Morant fast break variation for the Holland plus cash. So these type of cards are great for repacks as well. And we know TNT, so I could easily TNT doesn't do soccer, but they do football and basketball. Jeremy was thinking outside the box with this one, but I could get my cash a different way. Instead of trying to get 3 cards, now I could just give these to TNT and get the cash. So it was like another step, but you get to the end point the same way.
I'd like to point out that only
view it for you. Go ahead.
I would like to point out that only first world problem Manny would be like, oh, I'm stuck with this 1-of-1 Neymar. I'm just stuck with this vinyl 1-of-1. Oh, my life is so terrible.
No. Neymar, like the soccer community don't like Neymar. I like Neymar, but a lot of people do not like him. They kind of think of him. I don't know how to compare him. to someone in basketball or football.
We
But
gotta
it's
play that game again where we compare players
yeah,
from one sport to another. That was a fun game. We should do that on the next one, not this
yeah,
one. What were you gonna say, Jay?
No, I was going to say for Manny, I thought it was really cool. He found the deal, and originally he was looking to trade up into a bigger soccer card, which was a badass. It was like a 2014 World Cup Messi Ronaldo, like
yep,
a beautiful refractor, probably like a $2,000-3,000 card. And I was just, I was trying to be supportive, but I'm like, he brought me over and he asked for my opinion. I'm like, okay, well, you're just going to have a bigger soccer card that's going to be that much more difficult to move unless you're prepared to go to like the next, Midwest Monster or the big show in the big show in Indiana or the National. So I said, what about this? What if you take it the other way, trade down, but make sure you get tens and 9.5s where if you don't like the cards, you know that you can go right to repack and get 85% of comps right now. But also when we were looking at them, like football is on the uptick. John Morant, assuming he doesn't, shoot anybody or gets his legs broken off by a big booty working girl. These are, the Grizz are going to make a run in the playoffs. These are cards that are still going to be on an upwards trajectory where you could sell them and, get 100% for them. And, I had to take a call. You summoned me somewhere, Mrs. Reckline. And so I left. And then, Manny got the deal done. And so I was very, very happy for him.
We're proud of our
I would
son.
say this. Yeah, I was so damn happy because Manny's like, I'm going to sell these cards. And he was talking to people. He was seeing what was out there. He wasn't just jumping at the first deal, which I think, we talk about evolution and growth, man. A year ago, Manny wasn't doing that.
no, I wasn't. I feel like this show I was a little bit better. Like I was determined on selling these cards because I wanted to buy. So I did buy my Neymar one or Nomar 1 of 1. Shout out Leighton. And I used the cash that I got from the trade for trading down. So I didn't even spend a dime on a PC card. So
That's
now
awesome.
now I could sell these cards and it's all profit.
Congratulations. That's a
Yeah,
really
thank
see.
you.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I do. I feel really excited. I feel like the change in the Reckless Too Thick group it's really noticeable. I think if you go back and you watch some of our early stuff to now, you can see the growth. And I think that's sort of what like you guys started this podcast for, was to, be really open about the hobby space and the journey and, what you guys are doing. And I think it's cool to see that. And like, I remember following Manny around at shows where he's just like, oh, oh, I don't know what to do. Jeremy's not here. We got to go find Jeremy. And now you're on your own making, 4-figure deals and turning them into PC cards that you love, plus
Yep.
having liquidity in cards that you don't necessarily care that much about and you don't feel bad seeing sold.
Yep. Catch me on the TCG game. I'm getting good at that. So
Yeah, I
soon
know,
I'll
man.
be
Every time I go into the big group chat, the exclusive group chat, I see Manny's already bought cards and they're already being sent off to grading. And I'm like, damn, he's going to kick my ass in TCG, man. He's
yeah,
going to
I
whip
love
my ass because I have no idea what the hell's going on. I'm just like, I just try to throw money at it and hope that it works its way out. But so Saturday comes to an end. I think everybody kind of breaks, and there was the big collectible card ladder event at Rumbar at the Mirage. So that was the first time that entire time that we had to take a Uber or a cab ride, and you could just sense that it was going to be a fun night. We got to link up with Mark, Uber collector, who came in like he saw us and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to come in." And so he drove in from Arizona, and then throughout the day, I felt so awful because he's like, "Let's grab a drink," and I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's go get a drink." Well, it went from 9 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. like that. Then I had to go get showered and cleaned up. So we met before the actual party started, had a drink, drunk, and the party opened, and it was popping, man. It
was so nice of them to
was.
throw a party for my birthday like that.
I take care of you, girl. I wanted you to celebrate your 25th in style. We had the club going. We had the DJ.
Table
And
service.
yeah, so I mean, like that. If anybody's ever seen like the C Blaze dancing videos,
You saw that live?
I don't think that's shtick. I think that's
That's just who he is.
he grabbed my
I like.
hand as I was walking by trying to get me to dance with him. I was like, leave, get me cute.
Yeah,
He literally grabbed my hand and
he
was
just
like
wants
pulling
to
me.
dance, guys. He just wants
Yeah.
to dance. Let him dance. Actually, like it was so funny because watching Blez, like I never had an opinion about Blez one way or the other. But watching him at the party, I actually I found him more endearing than I thought I would. So there's that.
You could say he's the same in real life.
He
And
really is.
this,
He just doesn't. I don't know. He's just he's a vibe. I guess he didn't.
yeah,
I thought I would find him more I don't know, maybe annoying, but he was just he's who he is. I can't hate on people who are who they are, you know?
So just to put a bow on that, as me and Courtney left with our Uber at like 2 o'clock in the morning, we get to a red light and we're getting ready to make a right. And there's somebody hold a video and you just hear loud ruckus and screaming. And it is Blez, I think C Blez. I think they all have different names. The Dancing Blez. And two other people screaming into a phone, "The hobby is alive," on a street corner of the Mirage
At
and the
2 in the
Las
morning.
Vegas Strip. The
Yeah.
hobby is alive. And I was like, just sitting there, like, is this really? I'm like, us card dorks are weird, man. We are a weird group of
We're a
people.
weird group of people.
that
And I'm
party,
including myself in that.
yeah, that party was pretty. It was pretty weird but fun because it was like we all share the same interests. And it was like everyone that you would see on content on Instagram, the bigger names, they were all there, and it was just a big community, just getting along, drinking Don Julio together, taking shots for
Too
Courtney's
much
birthday.
Don Julio. Taking shots.
Bottle
Yeah.
service,
How many people
Yeah.
are
you
like,
know.
oh, let's do a shot for your birthday? I'm like, I can't. I'm gonna die.
I had 4 cigars. I thought I was gonna die the next day when I was trying to talk.
I
And I
had
was like,
one. I had one.
I'm
I'm like,
still
this
like,
is funny.
I'm still recovering from it, from the 4 cigars. I
I'm
do
flying
want
home on the airplane, cough, trying not to cough. And the people next to me are looking at me like I'm germing them up. I'm like, I smoked too many cigars. I sounded like an old lady, like the bus driver from The Simpsons.
yeah.
Get out on the bus.
I do want to before because I know I don't want to miss it. But Big John had a good question, and I didn't want to miss it. For all 3 of us, I want you guys to. What's a company that stood out for each one of you guys? And if you want to go, Jeremy, and then Courtney, and then I'll go last. I
So
think we all
first off,
have a different one.
yeah. So the first one for me, and this is just because it's sentimental to Courtney and I, is Hit Parade. They learned about the scavenger hunt that we do, and without us asking anything, they donated one of their repacks for the kids, and made it a point to offer their services to help in any way. And for just a couple of kids from the Midwest who are just trying to do right by people, for us to even be on their radar and to offer up that is just, it's awesome. It wasn't like, hey, who's Jeremy? Who's Courtney? What can they do for us? What can we get in return? It was, we heard about what you're doing. We want to support. Here you go. And, shout out to the big dog for making that happen. Without Jason, maybe that's not possible. So that was my first one. And then the company who stood out to me, there was a lot. And so I want to be mindful of that. But the one that stood out to me was Trip. And I would have never even taken the time to stop and talk with them. But I liked everything that they had to say. I liked the way that I was treated. I liked the conversations that I had. I liked what they're doing. I liked what they're trying to provide the streamers on their service. And, full disclosure, Courtney and I were going pretty ham on Whatnot a couple years ago. And so, we were very open about, the good, bad, and the ugly over there. And so it was just something that intrigued me that I, probably because that's where my mind is right now. That's the one that left a lasting impression.
And shout out Hit Parade too, because they were basically giving money to people to walk around because they were taking repack submissions for anybody that had cards from like $100 to $500. They were offering like a certain percentage, and you could go there and sell your cards easily. And I do appreciate that because it kind of funds the hobby. Courtney, what company?
First of all, I'm going to definitely reiterate the 2 that Jeremy said. Hit Parade. Those guys are like, I've actually talked to them a couple. They probably don't remember me because it was
Oh,
like
they remember you.
I walked up to their table a couple times and talked to them at like national and other things. But like I was like it was like when I was like intensely trying to sell cards so I could buy that Jordan at national. So I don't know if they like remember me from that. But so there was that one, and again, Drip, like Monique is awesome, and she was at the Women of the Hobby dinner, so that's how we kind of started chatting about it. And Jason from Sports Card Machines, like, and his wife Michelle, setting us up with or talking to talking up about the scavenger hunt. That was, you make these connections with people, and when it comes back in like a positive way, it is humbling. I watched the breaks in person. Dude is such a nice guy. His name's Ivan, right?
Ivan's the
And
best.
his platform, when he was talking about, is it ISO? Is that what it's called?
ISO.gg.
ISO.gg. What he's got set up over there and what they're doing is really impressive too. There's so much innovation in this space that it would be hard to pick a favorite. So, but those were the people that like spent time talking with us. Those are the people that really I was impressed with just by their passion around their company and what they're doing.
Mhm.
I feel like I feel like I'm not giving enough credit to all of the people that I spoke with, but
Well, yeah, I mean, we
those
can
were,
go on and on,
I
but
could go on and on,
yeah.
but those three were probably the ones for me that I was like
Okay.
really excited about.
Well, I'm glad because no, those three weren't my three. So my three, I'll say three too. First of all, DCI, we just had Jason on. He gave me a slab because they just came out with their slabs, and he was just like, Manny, take one of these slabs and feel it. And we want to have people that we like kind of get the slabs in their hands and talk about it. So then it's a nice quality slabs. I'm probably gonna send my Nomars in. Like he was saying on his show, they haven't got the resale value, but it is a nice slab to have like your PC cards, and that's what I plan on doing is sending
Dude,
my PC cards.
I'm such an asshole because they are gonna grade my card
Yeah.
like from the
Oh
basketball
yeah.
card fanatic, and
And you didn't say them.
I
No, I'm
know
joking.
I told you I can't.
Have
I
it.
feel like asking for a favorite is like, what's
No,
your
no,
favorite kind of chocolate? Like I
no,
fucking
no,
love all chocolate.
no. Next,
While you're giving Jason his flowers, can I tell you this? He told
yeah.
me off on the side that because he doesn't drink, but he drinks coffee. And so everybody gives him a hard time about drinking coffee. And he always shares my Twitter or our Reckless Cards Twitter. And he's like, see, there's another idiot out there that drinks coffee at an alarming rate. And so now the new thing is when we're at Starbucks, we tag one another. And it sounds so corny because like collectively we're like 90 years old, 60 of it being me, 30 being him. But the fact that I've got a coffee buddy out there in Dallas just tickles my heart.
Yeah,
And
and then
Jason from Rare Edition let you back into the show too. So like everybody just
Oh, yeah.
go
yep,
ahead.
and then the owner, Big Sexy is what he goes by on Instagram, invited us to come. Was like whenever Too Thick and Courtney, if you whenever we're in Dallas, he said stop by the shop. We'll give them a tour, give you guys a tour. So shout out to them. Shout out to there's two other ones. Bleecker, Jacob from Bleecker is amazing. One of my good friends in the hobby, I would say. He said that we need a Too Thick um, trade night. So he wants us to do a Too Thick trade night. So we might have to do that. We might have to take this trip to New York City to have a Too Thick. And I was like, are you sure? Are you ready for the Thick fam and the Thickalos to have a Thick
Well, I got to get out to
trade
New
night?
York to visit Lauren
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm
So,
in. And Cage,
yep. And Vadim, Marino, all
Vadim,
those guys
yeah,
go.
everybody's out
So,
there.
and then lastly, I want to give a shout out to Israel from Pristine Auction because I met him like briefly through the show on Saturday. Someone in Alex, I think Sports Card Stallion, or someone else introduced me to him. Met him briefly, said hi. I met Manny at the party. He came right up to me and was like, "Hey Manny, how's it going?" Blah blah blah. And we talked for a while about Pristine. I didn't, and he was telling me stuff that I didn't know. Like for example, if you sell your cards or sell any memorabilia on there and it goes over $1,000, there's no fee for you as a seller. So I thought that was interesting. And him being able to remember me off, like, he's meeting so many different people we follow. We've been texting back and forth about like the auctions I'm bidding on and how Kaylee's going to kick my butt. And because Kaylee was telling him that he was pretty much the devil because I spent so much money on Pristine back in the past. So, but yeah, shout out to those three businesses and / companies.
Yeah, PWCC too, man. I hung out with Eric and Tony. Those guys are so nice.
Mhm.
I could just literally we could just do like a love fest because to be honest, it was a great event and it was wonderful meeting everybody. Like Ty from Bullpen LA, she is legit like one of the coolest people. You talked to Aaron from A&N for like the longest time at the party. It was just like these two like fogies sitting in the back of the party just like chopping it up. Like it was precious.
It was Aaron's first time ever speaking on a panel, and he didn't know what to expect. And everybody says, "Hey, if you have any questions, reach out." So I'm at this bougie ass party, Manny. I'm like a smidge uncomfortable. I've got a nice glass of cab, and I saw him, and I'm just like, "F it, don't even think about it, just go for it." And I was like, "Hey, man, your panel really, inspired me. My wife and I have been talking for years about opening a card shop." And then he's just like, "Sit down," and then we just sat for hours, and
There
he
you
told
go.
me everything from like a Tuesday morning at 9:14 a.m. when the one kid didn't put the Pokemon boxes out or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
there was just a lot of incredible people.
There's
Yeah.
so many. Jimmy, Kentucky, what is it? Kentucky Roadshow. Jimmy, the nicest guy in the world, came up to me and was like, "I love like what you guys do. I see you're enthusiastic. I know you're like Michigan State. I'm a Kentucky." Like, you know how he gets. He's like, "Please, please let me know if there's anything that you can do, or I can do to help. I want to get on the show. Please have me." I was like, to see someone at that caliber so excited about Thicc. Same with Chris Hoge coming up and it's like, "I love what you guys do. You guys
Jeremy
make me
Lee?
laugh." Yeah, Jeremy Lee, like these type of people, like saying they appreciate Thicc made me want to like, you know what? We have something going here at the Thicc fam.
How about the sheer number of Jeremys walking around?
Jeremy Allen from Heritage, Jeremy Lee.
Yes.
There's so
I had
many.
to tell all of them, though, that there is only one Jeremy.
Until Jeremy Lee came over and was like 7 foot tall. I was like, "What'd you say?"
He's so tall. It's so funny because every time you talk to anyone about Jeremy Lee, they're like, "Oh, he's so nice," and then they follow it up with, "Well, he's Canadian." So
He's like, "You guys better go to the Toronto show. I'm setting up a trade night. You're going on Thursday night." And in my head, I'm like, "Okay, whatever you say."
I'm going to try to make the one in the fall. We can't do the one in April. It's just too soon. But I know they do it like a couple times a year. So we're going to make it out for one of them.
Yep.
Manny, do you want to knock out for a second, and me and Courtney will keep it moving? That way you can come back because we have to wrap up on Sunday.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
All right.
Where's he going? Oh.
Manuel?
Yeah.
He's dancing in the background because he doesn't think anybody can see.
Oh.
He private messaged me, "I have to pee. I have to pee. I have to pee." And I'm like, "Oh, it makes sense why he's dancing."
He's a child. He's our fifth child. I adore him. So
I love that. I love that. So come Sunday morning, the one thing that Court and I had going for us is we're on Eastern time zone, so we're 3 hours in advance, and we get up every morning between 5 and 6 o'clock with the kids. So naturally, in Vegas, by like 5, 6 p.m., it's already our bedtime. So I think sheer exhaustion comes Saturday. We are probably at 2 o'clock in the morning. We were probably some of the first people to leave the party.
Yeah. Also, I fell in the shower and hurt my hip. So, did you even wash your hands? That was really fast. Go wash your hands.
I'm good.
There's no way you had to pee that bad with that fast and wash your hands.
I'm sweating.
Unbelievable. There is a trail of dribble somewhere. Poor Kaylee. Poor Kaylee. It's Kaylee, baby. So, Manny, I was just saying that, the one thing Courtney and I had going for us was we're so tired by the time 10, 11, 12 o'clock rolls around that even if we wanted to stay up and party with the youths, sheer exhaustion just won't allow it. So So come Sunday morning, it was 6 o'clock, and we were having our coffee. And the game plan for that day was to go buy everything from everyone. Everything from everyone.
How'd that turn
Didn't
out,
work
Courtney,
out.
with meetings on top of meetings?
So the second that I walked in on Sunday, because we got there a little later than what we had wanted. So first of all, shout out to Mint, because everyone's like, oh, Sunday was slow. But I actually spoke to one of the reps for Mint, and they sold 650 tickets within the first like 2 hours of it being open on Sunday. Sunday, not that wasn't Saturday. So when anyone who's saying that there's not foot traffic at the show, they're wrong, because the ticket sales alone would argue that that's not true. But so we got there
I
a
do
little
think it would
later.
be fair to say that maybe the vendors weren't as chipper and locked and ready to go at
Yeah, you
that door open.
there were people that didn't show up, so you can't blame the Mint when your rear end wasn't
Oh
there.
no.
So, but by the time we got there on Sunday, my phone was blowing up. Where are you? This person wants to meet you. This person wants to talk to you. We're trying to get this or that. Or so basically, from like 11 until the show closed, it was meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting for us. So we ended up not being really able to buy anything on Sunday, which was disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Manny.
No, I was I mean, this was the time where I'm messing with Jeremy and Courtney because they kept like, oh, I gotta go. Jeremy was like, I gotta talk to you. Got within 3 sentences was like, all right, Courtney's calling me, gotta go. Courtney was blowing by me at one point. I finally catch them and they're walking the hit parade. So I was just walking the show. I met up with Will. Shout out MBT. We used to work together. And we actually do a fantasy show together. So we were just talking and I was introducing him to people. Some of he was saying that he's been out of the hobby so long, he doesn't recognize a lot of the people that are in it. So when people are saying a lot of people are coming out of the hobby, I would disagree, because there's a lot of different content people that came into the hobby after the boom, I would say. Like, for example, Dr. Collectible, he's killing it. And he's been, the last couple months is like when I first like seen him on the scene, and he's a worker.
I met him at Culture Collision.
I
And
think,
like,
yeah.
we went out to dinner.
Yeah.
I went out to dinner with him and Tim and Nikki, and
Mhm.
he's just
Genuine.
genuinely the nicest guy. He's so sweet. Like, I can't even like I feel like that sounds like I'm like diminishing him in some way. He's kind, he's passionate, he's genuine, just the nicest guy.
Yep. So it was nice on Sunday.
Check out Reckless Cards YouTube.
Yeah.
This interview actually just dropped
a couple hours ago.
Yeah, we recorded with him a couple weeks ago, so I'm glad that we were able to drop that.
Yep. And like I said, like there wasn't, like Courtney, I would say it wasn't as much foot traffic because Saturday and Friday were crazy. And I think people had to get their planes because a lot of them left on Sunday. Yeah. But it was a good opportunity to buy. A lot of the dealers some of them were wrapping it up because like had to get their plane, had to get to their plane. But I think people thought it was empty because of that. Vendors trying to leave, people are leaving. Some people have their suitcases walking around. But there was foot traffic there, I would say. And majority of the people there were out until like 3 a.m. the night before, because Manny was out at 3 a.m. eating White Castle.
I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't bring this up, and I know it's a little out of order, but Saturday from approximately 10 p.m. Eastern till about 2 a.m. Eastern Sunday morning when I left, I was in amazement in how Manny worked the room. And going up to that, I was giving him a grip load of shit, because I was like, man, I'm the one that's buy, sell, trade. You were all the panel, yada, yada, yada. Don't worry, I'll do all the networking. Manny got done in 4 hours, what might take me 6 years to do. Manny went from person to person to person. He's like, you know what? Call your mom. Call your mom right now. Tell her to like the podcast. It's her favorite podcast. Yeah, you're going to be a guest. You next. Cool. Boom. And I was like in amazement watching him. Like, how does he do that? Like, I feel like I have to build some rapport. They're going to think I'm a complete scumbag if I try selling them something right away. And Manny's like, boom, boom, boom. Cocktail waitress, I don't care. I'm the host. I'm your favorite podcast. And
Yeah.
he was just getting stuff done. But he was doing it in a way where they're like, oh, we like Manny. He's great. He's awesome. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
It's
But,
almost like Manny recognized that he was at a networking event, so it's okay to talk about what you do within the space.
Yeah. Well, hey, I told Jeremy was giving me crap. Jeremy was giving me crap because of the panels and everything. And I was like, just watch me work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I even have a picture.
Granted, he didn't work Friday, and granted, he didn't work Sunday, but, Saturday night for
Yeah,
4
I did.
hours, he did put in some work.
Yes, I did. You were never around. You were on meetings, so you don't know what I was doing. But I even have a picture.
Yeah, I know what you were doing. You were confusing the shit out of everybody, trying to have people jump on to do interviews on dates and times when it wasn't their turn. So you were creating confusion.
Yeah. Oh well. Hey, when I talk to a lot of people, when I talk to like 150 people, we got guests for days now.
As long as they show up on the right day.
Exactly. If they don't, we're
sorry, Doc.
Don Julio.
No, but this is, I think having a community or group of people that you work alongside or work with or that can help you out is great because collectively we all have different strengths and weaknesses. And when we work together, it's advantageous for all of us. And it was pretty damn awesome. So in all seriousness, I was just sitting there and I was telling Courtney, I'm like, Manny is in his glory, man. He is absolutely crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. If anybody walked in, Manny was talking to him, and clearly a very popular and well-liked guy in the hobby. So I'm lucky to be his assistant.
Manny he's a good guy.
Thanks. But I'm the assistant. But we might even talk about we might have C Bless come on. I talked to him. He pulled me in the dance floor.
We'll see if he remembers. He was pretty drunk.
He pulled me in the dance floor and danced a little bit. I was like, you want to be on too, Thicc? Yeah. So you might be on
there
too.
May or may not be a video of him screaming "The hobby is alive" on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Videos of a lot of people within the space doing some stuff that they would be really sad.
I showed you the picture, but there's a picture I took of some very prominent person in the hobby. Everyone knows of him, and him on his phone, he was had too Thicc on the his Spotify. So I'm not going to say who it is, but it's very prominent, and he might be on the show. Maybe soon. So
let's go. I think we have gone well over our allotted time, and we could probably keep talking for days about this because it was truly a spectacular event. Great job to everyone involved who put this together. IMG, Collectible, Blake, Lauren, all you guys out there. Marino, you guys are fantastic. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I got I do like special shout out to Lauren and Marino because those are the ones that I talk to. And Marino is the best. I love Marino.
That dude was fantastic.
Yeah, he DM'd me. He's like, don't talk bad about me. And when he saw our live going on, do not talk bad. I'm like, I would never talk bad about you. He just got his own bagel now from Bagel and Wax Shop. So it's called
the Deem. Where is my bagel?
Yep.
We have beef because I wanted a bagel. Where is my bagel? Right now, I'm too thick. Vadim.
No,
oh boy.
Courtney, we do not want to fight the Alliance. Nope.
I'm not scared.
No.
Bring it on.
No. Sorry, Vadim. I'm sorry for asking.
You're a wimp. I have beef.
No.
Don't worry, Vadim. Don't worry, Brandon. I'll knock some sense into her when we get upstairs. The Alliance stands strong. No, appreciate everybody tuning in for this long, drawn-out thing. It truly was, though, man. It's all about community. It's hanging out with, people that you love and care about. We had a blast. I actually almost think that at some point people probably wish it was a couple extra days with no card-related activities so we could just, hang out and shoot the breeze. And but, there's always going to be next time. And we're truly grateful for everybody who took the time to listen in. Make sure you follow us, Reckless Cards, Too Thick Pod. Smash the like button. Right, Mandy? Is that what you got to do?
Dangerous Games Pod.
Yes. I was trying to make sure I scream smash. Manny's in my head now because I have to scream smash. I don't know when that became a thing. And so I got ahead of myself. Don't unsubscribe to Too Thick, unsubscribe to Reckless, and just go to Dangerous Games. That's the only thing that matters. As long as you go there, you're going to be all right.
There you go. There you go. And I hope you guys enjoyed your hobby release. We appreciate it, fam. And until next time, we'll have a special interview. We record it tomorrow and it'll drop probably later this week or early next week. So hope you enjoy it. Let us know and we'll talk soon. Peace.